It's fantastic. It's beautiful. And you look at this day on a weekend, people could be doing anything with their time. They're here, they're supporting, and they're enjoying the moment. And Canadian team is giving them something to really enjoy.
I think the fans are not just enjoying the moment, they're enjoying the momos as well, because the Nepali food truck is up there. I think they're doing a roaring trade.
No question about that.
You a momo fan?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a few spots downtown that'll get you can go.
Chicken kote, they're the ones to go for. Really good over from Parveen Kumar. Nepal are getting themselves into trouble. Look at that required run rate. It's continuing to escalate. The score, 72 for 5.
TD is supporting cricket in more ways than ever. Because we believe Canada needs more cricket. How's that? TD, ready for you.
Just going to get a quick look here at the dynamic duo, the partnership graphic. Just 4 off 10. They have to get going. After this, because Nepal haven't picked Gulshan Jha, there's not a huge amount more to come. We know that Sampal Kami and Karen Casey and Sandeep Lamachani can all bat, but it shouldn't really be their job to get those runs that Nepal need.
No, and you can see, you mentioned the run rate escalating. That's going to make it all the more difficult, and you've got a huge over here now coming up from Saab bin Zafar.
This one's hit down the ground. Will be a single. Irie has the power. We know he can clear the ropes. He looks just to be assessing things. He's trying to just start to build this partnership with the skipper. Might be a case of, well, maybe not going after Saad bin Safar, just knocking it around off him. But all of a sudden, this very much has the feel of a game that's going to the 20th and final over in the chase.
No question about it. And if you're Nepal, if there's one positive you're clinging on to right now, if you saw over the course of the ODIs, Canada was able to knock sides down and get them 6 down, 7 down, but then weren't able to close that deal. They were able to get the win, but you had situations where they had the opposition 80 for 7, 100 for 7, and then sides are still getting to 180, 200 plus.
Yeah, now that was both Oman and Nepal, wasn't it? It had kind of lots of good 7th, 8th, 9th wicket partnerships. Problem is, the required run rate is becoming an issue now. It really is. Because of all of these dots from Saad bin Safar in particular, we're going to have a, I think we're going to have a check here. Umpire is calling on Vikram Naponi, the Nepal team physio, because I think it's just come up into the helmet. So we have to go through the mandatory concussion check. But you look at what's to come for Nepal in terms of their batting lineup here. I'm sure Irie will pass this. It's just a case of going through the process. It may be Karen Casey next. He's got power down the ground. But how have Nepal got themselves in a position where they nearly need 8 and over now?
Well, again, you look at the start that they had, where they knocked off the 17 in the first over and a half. Since then, Canada has done brilliantly to just pull things back. And obviously, the biggest factor in that is taking wickets. And you put this side under pressure. You mentioned the losing factor of not knowing how to get it over the line of late. And that kicks in, and you play that super safe approach. And sometimes, you know, the safer you go, the more easily it slips away. And you can feel a bit of that happening right now.
Yeah, and I almost hasten to bring it up because I know that millions of Nepal fans will be tuning in. But, well, there's a few demons in the head there, isn't there, from St. Vincent too, at that T20 World Cup. Devastating losses against. It's better for Irie. Gets it round the corner, but again, that heavy outfield, on a normal outfield that would have run away. And remarkably, they've only run a single. I think Irie thought that was 4 or 6 from the moment it came off the bat, and he's just kind of stood there, isn't he?
And we kind of saw that once in the Canadian innings as well. At this point, you should know what the outfield is giving you, and just a bit careless there to not give in a full effort running between the wickets.
Another sweep shot, not made contact with. Nobody is finding rhythm or timing here. We'll get one more look at this. Keep your eyes on Irie. So he's hit this, and he said, oh, happy days. 4, maybe 6. And then it kicks in. Oh, no.
And his
I've got to
partner's
run.
Not doing much either. And that, you've got your captain out there. He's got to be leading the way. He's got to be setting the standard. And so when you see the captain not really moving his feet either, you can't point the finger then, can you?
That, for me, Vivek, is sloppy and very unlike Dipender Singh and Rohit Paudel. They're usually so good between the wickets. But the point I was just going to make about those 2 games in St. Vincent, yes, on tricky batting surfaces. Nepal bowled the all but over for Nepal. They were sensing a historic first ever victory over a Test nation. With 7 overs left, they were 82 for 2, needing less than 5 runs per over, and they were literally all but over the line. They ended up not quite getting there, losing by 1 run in those dramatic circumstances with Gulshan Jha at the crease, as Aaron Johnson is now the latest Canada fielder to go off the field. But then a couple of days later, they played Bangladesh. They bowled them out for 106. In fact, at one stage it was 88 for 9. It was an 18-run 10th wicket partnership that got Bangladesh up to that, and they couldn't chase that total either. They were bowled out for 85, taken apart by Tanzim Saqib, who took 4 for 7, including 2 maidens. So there's those demons. They're fresh in the mind, aren't they? They're the last T20s that Nepal played.
That'll leave some scars for sure. But hey, the only way you're going to get out of a situation, and sometimes you know, you look at that South Africa match, how close they were. They would have been feeling that anticipation, that pressure of, oh, can we get over the line?
Yeah, you can see that this is a great piece of running from Dipender Singh. He's so quick, no one's going to out-sprint him. I don't think many others would have got there. Akhil Kumar did wonderfully well and was very athletic to flick the ball onto the stumps, but they'll scamper through for the run.
Great work from Akhil Kumar to make it a close call there, and he just needed to run all the way through, and he did well to get in the crease.
Just the speed, isn't it, of Irie that's got him home there. But you can see that I think Paudel and Irie have identified this is an over. They've got a target. Pace on the ball. They've got to find a couple of boundaries in this, the 15th. But another one just keeping low. Good skills from Akhil Kumar. Nepal, they're in real trouble here.
And to your point, you know, it hasn't kept low all day, and that's what leaves that seed of doubt. You don't know which one's going to keep low, and that plays minds on you, and all of a sudden that odd one keeps low. You've got to watch out for that every single time.
I think if this gets up north of 10 runs required per over, Nepal may not be able to come back from that 8.4, the required run rate right now. Well, that's into the slot, but slip in place. So with Thacker bowling his off breaks, he's going to turn the ball away from the left-hander. He's trying to bring that slip into place to get into play, really, to get another wicket, find a 4th.
Wow.
This one just skids on, angles on. Kushal Mal is known as a big hitter, but he's just been a little bit shy of form. Left out of the ODIs, back in now for the T20s. Both him and indeed Dipender Singh Irie, their innings with the bat. We may see Irie in next, I think, at number 6. They're going to be critical. But pressure is very much on Nepal.
Yeah, and you look at this replay, see how close he came to hitting the wicket. Not quite there. The sports psychology, I think, comes into play like this.
Gets us to the end of the 7th, sorry, Matt.
Yeah,
Score
go ahead.
37 for 3.
Seva is giving back to the community and making sure that the community is taken care of. We do a lot of that at our temples and in the Punjabi community, and that's how I see the store. So it's a no-frills thing to do.
So the required run rate, keep your eyes on that in the bottom left of your screen. Nepal won't want that going up sort of past 7 or 8 and over, because then obviously it's more than 1 run for every single ball that they're going to require. And now it's going to be a trial by spin. Young Ansh Patel, who is making, I believe, his T20I debut today. He did debut last week in the ODIs. He's still just 22 years of age. You talk about some young Canadian talent coming through, and it is indeed his first T20I. What he'll do here, Matt, is he'll bowl the same as Sandeep Lamachani, but the mirror image. So he's a left arm wrist spinner, which is the rarest style of bowling in all of cricket, and he can turn it both ways as well.
That definitely keeps the batter on his toes, I would assume. You don't know what's coming.
And there's something almost, it's probably a little bit like a sidearm pitcher, you know, some of those unorthodox
like
ones.
Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah, in baseball.
Yep.
It's almost just because you're not used to facing it, it becomes that bit more difficult.
Yeah, I read a really interesting book called The Sports Gene about all these like micro movements you get used to playing a sport over the years.
Now, big appeal. This is full and straight, but not straight enough.
This is a tough ump right here.
Says not out.
That's like the 6th major appeal I've seen. He hasn't given a call once. But yeah, these micro movements you intrinsically pick up on, and when they're shifted, whether it's a sidearm pitcher or, like you said, the rare lefty spinner.
Just going to see if we can get a replay of that LBW appeal. So the LBW law, Matt, in essence, the umpire's got to adjudicate whether it's hit the pad or not, or a part of the body, and whether it's going to go on and hit the stumps.
Yep.
So that, to me, looks really close. It's probably going to go on, and see 15, 20, 30 years ago at all. They'll take on the fielders in the deep. So you can see the man was positioned there. This is going to be 4 more. I'm not sure Aaron Johnson is going to catch up with this. Maybe he will. Has to get the dive in. And they're going to try a third. And the throw is relayed onto the stumps by Sherius Mova. They might think of a 4th here. And off goes Powdell. And they're going to end up getting 4 runs. Rather remarkably. Thanks to the deflection off the stumps, the ball is still live then. It's not a boundary 4, but it's an all-run 4, which is incredibly rare.
Wow, yeah. You think when it hit it was a dead ball, but you're right. And heads up running by Nepal.
And good awareness, great match awareness from Nepal. Powdell's incredibly quick between the wickets. He called his young star through, so it's back-to-back. Not boundaries, but 6 and now 4. 10 runs and 2 balls. It's changed the game.
Yeah, and now we're hearing the crowd.
The crowd are coming up. Think about that LBW decision. Think about the small margins. Canada will feel as though they should have got that decision going in their favour. The umpire at the far end, that's Rohan Shah. He disagreed, and Mala is making use of his life. He's already to double figures. So it's 11 runs from the first over of Ansh Patel. It's 48 for 3.
TD is supporting cricket in more ways than ever. Because we believe Canada needs more cricket. How's that? TD, ready for you.
So Nepal are going at exactly a run a ball. They've faced 48 balls across their 8 overs. They've scored 48 runs. So it means the equation now is 76 off 72. You don't want that equation to get too unbalanced if you're a Nepal fan. Let's get one more look at this big 6 down the ground. It was a great strike, wasn't it, from Kushal Malla? And that was the very delivery after he just survived a tight LBW shape.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about momentum and how things change. We saw the diving catches from Canada, and they were kind of locking down on defense. Now Nepal starting to get it going.
Oh, if you're Harsh Thacker, it's into the slot. That's a juicy strike zone delivery, and Powdell cashes in with a maximum.
It sure is, and you got to think, like, if you're Nepal, you know your target in this format. You're being ultra aggressive, and that's what we're seeing right here with this rendition of batters.
The margins in cricket, Matt, they are so small. So for that bowler there, if he's 6 inches shorter, that's an okay length. That's actually a good length. The batter's going to find that hard to get underneath. But there's a length that we call the slot. And that one there, Harsh Thacker, could not have bowled that more in the slot.
Yep.
Powdell identifies that, smashes it down the ground, 60 metre straight boundaries. He gets 6.
Yeah, these guys are too good. You're right. You can't make those kind of mistakes at this level.
Nicely worked into the leg side. They'll think of a second, but no need to take it on, as Sad bin Safar does the fielding. It's been an amazing innings already, this chase. It's really ebbing and flowing, very topsy-turvy.
Yeah, very exciting match. And again, I think that's a credit to this format. You know, it breeds excitement.
They had a campaign, the ICC, the equivalent of a FIFA or World Rugby, the governing body for cricket. It was the 2014 T20 World Cup out in Bangladesh, and they ran this campaign in the build-up, saying it's one big over. One big over can change the game.
Yeah.
And that's either way. So if Anj Patel had maybe got that LBW decision going in his favour, he might have had not just the wicket of Mala, he could have got a second wicket in the over. Instead, Mala turned that over in his favour by picking up the 10 runs for the next 2 balls. This is just inches short.
Wow.
I don't think it's carried on first viewing. We'll try and get another look, but Saad bin Safar, he was hovering in there at mid-wicket.
Some reflexes right there.
Going to be a single to close out the 9th over. 9 have come from it. Saad bin Safar ends up on his backside. It's 58 for 3.
Y'all new Nissan Kicks. Ready for whatever you're into. Get your kicks.
So the penultimate ball of the last over, Matt. Was this a catching opportunity? Did it carry to Saad bin Safar, the former captain?
Oh, yeah, he could have had it. I mean,